ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here, and today we're taking a look at Killing Floor 2. Now, this is a game that I spent quite a lot of time on back when it was, or rather, I spent a lot of time on the first game in this, which was the original Killing Floor. And, well, what is Killing Floor? Basically, it is a horde mode survival game. The original did have an objective mode, a sort of co-op campaign type of mode, but this seems to only have the survival mode. Anyway, so you fight against waves of increasing numbers and increasingly difficult enemies, and you play as one of a few classes. Now, of course, it is a first-person shooter, like the original was, and it seems to be, I suppose, a more polished version of the original. Now, one thing you're going to notice here, if you are a veteran of the original Killing Floor, is that there are only 4 classes. The original had several more. In fact, I'm noticing my favorite class, which was the Pyro, is not actually here. So that is a little bit disappointing. Now, I have put a decent amount of time into this already, and I've kind of taken a liking to the Field Medic class. But before we get into anything here, I just want to have a quick look at the options. Now, video details, nothing really to complain about here. Graphics options are pretty good. I'd say pretty good. The depth of field is on, but I don't seem to notice it as much. In fact, it doesn't seem to be particularly bad. But the game runs at a very, very nice frame rate, which of course is what you look for any good PC title. And the character customization is a little bit better, I suppose, than the original Killing Floor. There are less characters, like there's significantly less characters than the original had, but I'm sure this is going to be expanded as time goes on. The original did have DLC skins and so forth, things that you can download from, I believe, the workshop. I'm not really too sure exactly where they're from, but there were a lot of them. And I think we're going to play as the Reverend here. You can change hair colors as well as clothing colors, and you have the options of several different things like gas masks and fedoras if you are that sort of character, or even glasses. So there are these things. These are all purely cosmetic, and the progression system from the original Killing Floor is still here. So we have leveling up, and that'll of course increase our stats overall. It does give us some skills that we can unlock. For example, there are some active skills that we can unlock here, and these will definitely change the way that we play as time goes on. I haven't actually unlocked any of these yet, which is quite disappointing because I won't be able to tell you exactly how they work, but there are quite a lot of them already. And the objectives for leveling up. In the previous Killing Floor, I think the biggest criticism I would have of that is because you had to complete all of the objectives, and that only then would you actually get any XP at all, and then level up. And some of the objectives, particularly for the Demolitions class, which is, again, another class that is not present in Killing Floor 2, it became very, very difficult because some of the objectives, especially if you were only able to play solo, would be nigh on impossible to actually complete. So leveling up became a very difficult thing indeed. However, in Killing Floor 2, what they have are a couple of objectives to level up, and you can complete either one of these, and these will give you XP. And of course, it does indicate in the game every time you gain XP just how much you're getting for things. So of course, dealing damage and healing teammates will get you XP. Getting kills also does, but it's dependent on the amount of damage you do rather than the actual kill itself. And of course, the slow-mo is still there. So we're going to jump into a game. The offline solo mode is not available just yet. I'm not sure if that's going to be available at launch. I am currently playing a pre-release build, so some things are subject to change. Now, there are dedicated servers as well. There are plenty of these servers available. I'm just going to go to the one that's closest to me. And let's get started. Right, there isn't anybody in this game at the moment, so given that it's a hard difficulty, this could be a challenge for us. I think I might give the Berserker a try. Or I could just stick with the medic. The medic does actually have some decent weapons, so we're going to go in solo. I'm just going to explain exactly how the game works. Oh look, now we do have a commando with us. Now, I will say that playing the particular classes, it's a lot easier, actually, in some ways, than the original Killing Floor was. One thing to remember is the original Killing Floor was very team-focused. And this is no different. You really need the synergy with the different classes. And there's that lovely bullet time in effect there. And there you can see the amount of XP you get there, also flashing up in the corner. One thing you will have noticed by now, hopefully, is that there is no crosshair. But having played this game quite a lot, I'm actually quite okay with that. And middle mouse activates our secondary function, which is the healing dart. I want to kind of avoid that boomer over there. We don't want to get trapped in this corner over here.
Finish the last ones off, so I can open the trader pod for you.
Unheal me. There we go. I will say they've definitely improved the animations. And one thing is, as well, is that with the medic weapons, the healing dart is a lot easier to aim than it was before. You don't actually need to aim directly at the players to heal them anymore, which makes it a lot easier when things are getting very hectic. I do remember the original being quite difficult in that respect, because you had to... You really had to aim directly at them in order to actually have that happen.
You can't fight in that condition. Get healed.
And of course you can still heal yourself with your healing syringe there. Of course it is still far more effective if your teammates do it for you. No, don't have the money yet to buy anything yet. I think I might just buy more ammo then. Medic grenades, of course, are very, very useful. Giving you the ability to heal your teammates when they are actually fighting something big as well. It's very, very useful. There's also more indicators now than before. You can actually see in the bottom left there the actual indicator for the healing syringe is actually indicated there, so you know exactly when everything is ready to be used again. Now, in this current state, this is again a pre-release, so this is subject to change. But at the time, there are only 3 maps to play on. A little bit disappointing. The maps themselves are nicely made, though. And what you just saw there, that wasn't me turning towards him. In fact, the game now allows certain types of the Zeds to grab you and deal damage. So you'll be unable to move, and they will actually damage you over time. Not particularly good, but then it turns the camera to face them whenever it does that, so it gives you a brief moment to actually do something about it. Very, very useful indeed. Of course, the crawling guys on the ground are still just as annoying as ever. Now, it is a bit difficult to talk and play at the same time. And that's just the way things go. There was only one left and it wasn't able to get him. It's quite unfortunate. If I got that grenade down in time, I might have been able to last just a little bit longer. But you can see it is very difficult because I was the last one left alive, and it's just not very easy to stay alive in that situation when they go down a little bit too early. Now, you might have been hearing some voices in the background. That is actually the voices of these particular characters themselves. So by choosing a different character, we can actually have different voices coming out. So let's just switch over to that, kind of make him look like the SAS character from Counter-Strike there. We might go with... I think we'll stick with the field medic for this round as well. I do want to show off a couple of the other classes, so maybe in the next match we might be able to do that. We do have one more person on our team though, so that might actually help. I'm just playing in a public match, so who knows who's going to join. Now, one thing that has changed since the original as well, I don't believe sprinting was in the original game. I don't believe that was there. And in addition, you also have a lot more ammo drops than you used to. And you start off with a weapon. You do have a starting loadout. That was not something that was actually in the original, for sure. In the original, you started with only pistols, so no matter which class you were kind of handicapped. Especially, the sharpshooter class was the only one that was actually decent with pistols, so it was the only class that seemed to have any advantage. And of course, that class doesn't exist in Killing Floor 2 as of now, anyway. But yeah, the pistol, I believe it was this one, the 9mm, was the only one that you started off with, and that wasn't particularly useful for a lot of classes because they only got stat bonuses for their class weapons, and the pistols were of course belonging to the sharpshooter class, so they're the only ones who could really use them effectively.
Finish the last ones off, so I can open the trader pod for you.
Now, graphically, it's not gonna be one of those games that say, "Hey, look at us, we're at the edge of the what's technically possible." It's not one of those games, but it doesn't look bad on its own.
Pod is open again. Let's get you restocked.
It actually doesn't look too bad either.
Glad you made it back.
Now, they did get rid of the...
Us people, keep this going.
They did get rid of the trader. It was actually this lady that manned the trading post, and now she's gone. I don't know why they got rid of her. She seems to have turned into what looks like a futuristic 3D printer or some sort of teleporter machine.
Stocked and locked. If this place wasn't infested, I'd build a snowman.
Solid performance so far, but I'm not loving the quiet.
Time's
But yeah.
almost up.
Enough chat.
It still has the same character from the original Killing Floor, in that, you know, there are a lot of distinctly British characters, and
More Zeds on the scope. Back to it.
but I think it's more all-encompassing now. There's more European voices as well. Now, I'm just hoping that I'm not going to get content ID'd at the moment, because I have just noticed the music player is still on. And I don't know if any of the music is copyrighted in any way. I mean, of course it probably is licensed for the game, but then again, YouTube being YouTube, that could be a problem. So we will see. If that does happen, I'll have to re-upload it, of course, with the music removed.
A certain style. But many Zeds
Where do you think you're going? Damn it, reloading.
There we go. Get that heal going. And of course, I can switch to another weapon and heal again. Yeah, it does seem that the effect of homing on the healing darts themselves is high enough that I don't actually even need to aim that much. Just kind of hoping my team gets to me in time, because I was about to get eaten. But overall, is it any good? Well, it's still very faithful to the original, and that could be a good or bad thing. Obviously, if you're not a fan of the gameplay of the original, this isn't something that's going to blow you away or even pull you back in. Graphically, it's a very nice update, and it looks very well polished compared to the original. But there are some features that I have noticed are missing. In particular, some classes are gone. I'm not sure why. There are relatively few maps, but the maps themselves are nicely put together and very large, in fact, and very nicely varied as well. In addition, there are a lot more places, these Zeds, or these infected animals that come and attack you. There are a lot more places for them to get into buildings, so it's also a lot harder to be considered safe than it was in the original Killing Floor.
Gotcha.
Now, the only things I would hope for this game upon launch would be, aside from a lot more maps, would be
That's good stuff right there.
maybe modding support, or even just the ability for Steam Workshop, custom characters, custom maps, and so on. And that could be something that would definitely prolong the life of this game. Obviously, when it comes to a lot of multiplayer titles, you know, if you don't launch with enough content, it is going to be very hard to keep it going. So let's hope that they do have more content at launch, or this is going to be a very short-lived title, unfortunately. I'm still having a lot of fun with it. I mean, I've played now about 2 hours or 3 hours of the game already, and it's still really, really enjoyable. So I'm just hoping that that kind of stays.
We're almost out of time.
But I can see playing the same maps again and again. I can see that getting boring at some point, and that would be unfortunate, because this is still a very nicely put together title, and still, I mean, I like the original Killing Floor formula, but I will say that it's more of a case of they didn't fix what's not broken, and that just means that it really just is an update of the original. So for a lot of people, that's kind of going to be a deal breaker for you. So hopefully we do see more content, and maybe a return of some of the classes and some of the game modes as well. That would be very nice to see. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Panzer taking a look at Killing Floor 2. It's now available on Steam. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.